past the hour. I wonder what delays $50.
Fear not, most illustrious Hassan ben Sobar. Fear not. $50 will get the map by hook or crook, as sure as my name is Jinnarama.
Quite so. Service! Come on, service! Yes, sir. Coming up.
Yes, sir, we have all the service.
At your service. Boy, if I hadn't ducked, we'd have collided sure. What a narrow escape. Hey. What? What's the matter with you? Take this off! Take this off! No, take it easy. We'll have you all fixed up in a minute. What's this? Oh, happy birthday! Hold this. Just a minute, I'll take it right off. I would leave it on. People don't know if you're coming to go on with this on. There you are, sir. You look very pretty, and the spaghetti's as good as new. Why, you... No! Well, dog of dogs, how dare you?
1,000 pardons, it was unavoidable.
Wait a minute. This would degrade you. Just true. I'm an aristocrat. I am Hassan ben Sobar. I had a few too many myself. Quiet. We gotta clean up this mess.
Why?
Oh, get busy. Stop it, will you? Cut it out. You travel by night. Perhaps if $50 does not...
Greetings.
Let's bring the map, $50.
Hey, Chief. But as I slit his throat, with his dying breath, he said someone else had a duplicate map.
'Tis bad. We must leave at once if we are to be the first to reach King Rootin' tomb.
Make preparations to depart immediately.
Aye, Chief. But remember the curse. He who touches the jewel first is doomed to 1,000 deaths.
We must secure the services of 3. And when we get them to do our bidding...
Yes, but we'd best have food before we travel.
Aye. Service! Waiters!
Yes, I just said it.
Oh!
What do you have?
We don't have any more.
All we got left is rabbit and hot dogs.
Rabbit.
Hot dog.
Hot dog, they'll take rabbit.
Okay, come on.
Hey, coming right in. Coming right in. Here we are, pepper and salt. That busboy's off.
Scat! Come here. Come here. Well, I'll fix you. Oh, you. Yeah.
That's a...
Get out of here.
Come here, you. You'll figure it away. Now I got you. Come on. Now I got it.
It couldn't be. Or could it? Now, you stay here, you be a good boy, you, now sit there. it comes to cooking, I'm the cat's meow.
Sit down.
Oh, but I'm not tired. I'll just stand while you eat.
Sit down with your head on or off.
You talked us into it.
Eat.
Did you hear anything? Yeah, I did.
Yes. Sit down and eat.
Eat.
Gesundheit. Eat. Well. I killed it. I killed it.
I killed it. This just can't be.
Forget the mustard.
So you are the perpetrator of this. Sit down and eat.
Sit down.
A pleasure. Thank you.
Where's the dog and cat?
Why don't you tell me?
What?
Get out. Let him alone.
Oh,
Man.
There.
These three, they are the ones that get the jewel for us.
right. Gentlemen.
Who came in?
No, you. How would you boys like to make 1,000 shilblinas? You've convinced us. What do we have to do?
There is a diamond worth a king's ransom. See it here? A king's ransom.
Gentlemen, this map will lead us to the treasure. Now pay strict attention.
Hassan Ben Sobar, you are late. I got the diamond, you got the gate. Signed, oh my gosh, Immer of Schmo.
Oh, ruined, defeated. That murderous cutthroat. He has the famous 100-carat diamond.
100 carats. He sure knew his onions.
Quiet. This map is useless to me now. With that diamond, I could have quit my job as the doorman at the Oasis Hotel.
Hey, Spinach Chin, do you mean to tell me you're only a doorman?
Yes.
Well, there's the door, man.
Will you give me 5 for this?
No, but I'll give you 2.
I'll take it.
Yeah. There's only one 100-carat diamond, and it comes from Rootin' Tootin's tomb.
That's government property.
Right, and if we return it, we'll get a big reward.
Yeah, maybe 50,000 bucks. Boy, with that kind of money, we could rent a one-room apartment in Hollywood. Maybe.
But that Emer Schmo is a cutthroat. Suppose he cuts my throat.
Well, now don't worry. We'll be disguised. We'll find the shortest way. Now here, study this map closely. We start here at Jerkola, down the Insane River, over the Giver Dam, through Pushover, across Schmoland, to the stronghold of Schmo.
All right, that's enough of the public domain clips that are still much funnier than me. Might as well put this in. Go. Hello, everyone. How are we doing today on this, my only second live stream we are doing? I forgot my glasses. Where are my glasses? Here are my glasses. Right, that's better. Maybe. I don't know. All right, so hey everyone, and this is going to be a monthly thing. I'm just going to be doing these live streams for whatever I can think of. Maybe one day I'll do some gaming, but for now let's do some whatever I can think of. So this week I am going to be talking comics. I don't know how many of you... that's better. I don't know how many comic fans I have out there, but I think that this is a good opportunity to find out. So what I am going to do for the next, well, I would say for the next hour, but I do plan to do some Yu-Gi-Oh cards. So what I am going to do, I'm going to I have a stack of comics that I have read, stack of comic trades that I have read. I am going to randomly pick some out, and I am going to talk about them as best as I can. Some of these I read recently. Some of these I haven't read for years, but these are comics that I do remember, that I do have things to talk about. Are they good? Are they bad? I will get to that. And I'll just be doing this for a while until either I run out of comics or until we get bored, in which case, hey, why not do some more bootleg Yu-Gi-Oh cards? But we will see how we go. All right, I guess now is a good time to start, so let's start with Star Trek and the Legion of Superheroes. Yes, this is a book. Let's see if I can get that in focus. Maybe. Okay, this is a book that was actually reviewed by Linkara on Top of the Fourth Wall fairly recently, but this is an IDW DC Comics crossover. We don't see many crossovers these days, unfortunately. Marvel and DC used to be, I don't want to say good friends, but a lot more buddy, a lot more agreeable. Let's go with that. And nowadays with IDW and Dark Horse and Image and all these other comic companies just springing up, that you don't really see many crossovers. Everyone's just it's just become a cutthroat industry. Everyone's out for themselves. But this was a good idea. This was as I say, Linkara reviewed this recently, but I did read this before he reviewed it, and yeah, it's a great comic. So the story is that the crew of the original Star Trek Enterprise plus the Legion of Superheroes, I don't know which crew of the Legion of the Superheroes, I don't follow that comic, but they both end up in a parallel universe because something in the past happened to completely change both their timelines. They both live in separate universes, but something along the line changed both their universes and compressed them into one timeline. So we get Star Trek characters and DC characters interacting. We had the Borg interacting with a race and the Gorn interacting with the race. I'm sorry, I just don't follow the Legion of Superheroes that closely, so I can't quite tell you which race and what. But it also, and they took a bunch of Star Trek races and they gave them Legion of Superhero weapons. There's this group that are the main antagonists of the Legion of Superheroes, and they gave the Star Trek group the weapons of that group. And that was actually quite an interesting twist, quite an interesting tactic, an interesting amalgamation. Let's say amalgamation. And what's really interesting about this book is that it's not Star Trek versus the Legion of Superheroes. They do get in a brief scuffle when they first meet, but then actually it's not even really Star Trek teaming up with the Legion of Superheroes. So after they meet, after they find out that this despotic world is not the world that they came from, then they go their separate ways. Some of them go to the past, some to the palace where everything's being ruled over. And it's really good. It's really good artwork, really good. I am hoping I'm not going to get dinged for showing slight bits of this comic in the video. But it's the one thing that I'm not quite on board with is the villain. So actually not the villain, the villain's tool, let's say, what the villain uses to make all this happen. So apparently the villain is arguably the exact same person in both universes. It's just like one is a universe where he went off and did something, and another is where he became a different person. And from there, he became a villain in the Legion of Superheroes and a hero in Star Trek. But then a cosmic being went and messed all that up. So now he's evil in both universes and all powerful. And I'm trying not to spoil much of this comic because I really do think that you should go out and read it. But this is, even if you're not familiar with Star Trek or the Legion of Superheroes, it doesn't require much knowledge of either one. You're still going to enjoy it for the sci-fi and the absurdity of the superheroes meeting up with the more grounded, scientifically accurate Star Trek crew. And I think I've rambled on long enough about that one. Now, a comic I don't care for is the New 52 Justice League. I read this only a couple weeks ago. I don't remember a thing about it. So this is, the New 52 was a horrible idea. Well, it was a good idea, I should say, horribly executed. So from what I understand, about a decade ago, Warner Brothers was threatening to shut down DC. They were thinking that nobody was reading the DC comics, and so they decided that the company was wasting their time and money, and so they, right out of nowhere, decided to reboot the entire universe. Literally, right the hell out of nowhere. Like the creative heads just said, "Hey, we're gonna do everything all over again. You have a few months to wrap up what you're doing currently, and then we're gonna do this." And that's the kind of mindset that went into the entire run in general. Just rushed and trying to be completely different, trying to be edgy, trying to be super violent, trying to show heroes who don't care, who aren't afraid to push the rules. And okay, if done correctly, that can be fine. You know, I love Constantine, and the Punisher is fine, and Preacher's not a bad read, but when you rush it, when you have no idea what you're talking about, when you have no idea what you're trying to do, and that especially when you're making it all action-based, which is the case with this series, especially the first trade in general, because this is where we see all the heroes. All these heroes get together, the creation of Cyborg here, and I don't remember anything. Okay, so the parademons from Apocalypse invade the world. All the heroes are on board to. They all meet in the same place to fight them off. And Cyborg is created from, like the guy who becomes Cyborg, Victor Stone, is torn apart, and then his dad turns him into Cyborg, and with parademon technology, they're able to fight off the parademons. That's it. That is literally all I remember. Very well drawn, of course, and it's Jim Lee. Jim Lee is a marvel. And then, even with Jeff Johns at the helm, I just don't remember a single thing. The designs I don't think are as bad as people make them out to be. Sure, the collar thing is samey for all the heroes, but it's not awful. I can look beyond it, even though you even have collars for heroes that don't have collars, that aren't wearing shirts. I don't know. So yeah, I read this. I don't remember it. I read a couple other trades. I don't remember them either. This was just such a bad idea. New 52 was just such a bad idea. Such a rushed, unnecessary darkening of the universe. It was done just as a knee-jerk reaction to save the company. So yeah, not something that I recommend. Now about reboots that did kind of sort of turn out better. We have the Ultimate Universe with Ultimate Spider-Man. So the Ultimate Universe was basically, well, Marvel doing what DC tried to do 10 years later. And again, well, they had better success with their Ultimate Universe, but again, we still have a lot of books that are good and a lot of books that are bad. But Ultimate X-Men is not one of the good ones. But Ultimate Spider-Man, this is one of the good ones. I thoroughly enjoy Ultimate Spider-Man, at least from everything that I've read. So this is the volume 1. I do not have the cover to this, but it is a very good read. So yeah, being the Ultimate Universe, we do have different different origins for the heroes, different backstories. It reintroduces the villains and such. And of course, it's all done in a more modern, realistic setting, a little edgier, a little more mature, but it's still done well, especially with with Ultimate Spider-Man. So if you've seen the Amazing Spider-Man movie, then you know how Peter Parker gets his powers. He's actually bitten by a bioengineered spider instead of the spider that got too close to radiation, like the classic telling is. And strangely enough, they do put off showing the death of Uncle Ben in this. So of course, everyone knows the death of Uncle Ben. That's what sets Peter Parker on his road to being Spider-Man for good and all that. But while that happened in the first issue of Spider-Man, or even Amazing Fantasy 15, if you want to be pedantic, they hold that off until like issue 5 of Ultimate Spider-Man. I'm just like, what? Why? We know where this is going. I mean, they leave him alive for so long that you almost think that he's going to survive, but no, it takes like 5 issues to kill him off. I don't know, but it is really good. We do see a lot of Spider-Man's early attempts, early crime fighting sprees. The intro to different villains like the Kingpin and Kraven and Electro. Electro looks a lot like he does in Amazing Spider-Man 2 as well, except he's not. He has a different backstory, and he's a lot more badass than the Jamie Foxx impersonation. There was another thing. Oh yes, I do not like the Shield, the Shield Avengers plot though. So Spider-Man is of course doing his crime fighting, and then Black Nick Fury, because that's what they decided he was in the Ultimate Universe, says that his ass is his. That Spider-Man belongs to him as soon as he turns 18. Why? Why do you need that? Why do you need that in here? Why do you need some conscription, some superhero conscription in these stories? That's not fun. And then, of course, we'd have the Green Goblin, and the Green Goblin is a lot more brutal, a lot more goblin-like, and a little more insane, actually, but I don't like that as much either. But besides that, I really do recommend checking out the Ultimate Spider-Man universe. I don't remember, I believe that they stopped doing the Ultimate Universe So they changed the Ultimate Universe to like Action Comics or something like that, or Ultimate Comics around 5-10 years after they launched the thing, and then they completely destroyed it in a Secret Wars reboot, I should say. I'm sorry, it's hot in my room right now, and I can't turn on the fan, so I'm sweltering here. That's making me stutter a little bit. I'm sorry about that. Batman, Child of Dreams. This is, from what I understand, the very first Batman manga. And it's actually, once again, it's really good. So Batman is summoned to Japan because all his classic villains keep showing up. We have the Joker and the Penguin. No, the Penguin? Was the Penguin in this one? I believe Two-Face was on this one. Oh, and of course Catwoman. Catwoman's in this one. And except the villains aren't actually the villains. And as soon as he fights them, they melt. So of course he has to find out why. And he's joined by the granddaughter of a very rich geneticist, the CEO of a genetics corporation, I guess you should say. And as you can see, it's a very manga style. I don't remember if this was originally printed as a manga reading right to left, but it's very Japanese art, and it's a very intriguing story. I don't want to give away the ending, but it is, just look at the detail there. But I guess my only major complaint is that while it is manga, that they don't do any manga things with it. So that was actually one of the instructions that the author was given, that not to do anything manga-ish, nothing weird, nothing goofy. They had to keep it Batman, and so it reads a lot more like a Western comic than a regular manga. So that's kind of a problem. You have a manga from Japan, and you'd expect like Japanese tropes, Japanese gimmicks, that sort of thing. I mean, even in the more serious Japanese manga I've read, they incorporate things like odd-looking spirits and slapstick and little weird animals and that sort of thing. But here it's very serious, taken very seriously, and so I guess it kind of loses its touch, its artistic touch. So it as a Western comic, it's beautiful, and artistically it's still beautiful, but as a manga, you just kind of expect a little more culture, I guess I should say. Because as is, it's basically Batman just written and drawn by someone who knows how to do manga, which is great. And I do recommend that you check this comic out. Well, I was going to go on from there, but I see that everyone who started watching this has currently dropped out, and I do not feel like starting over for anyone who decides to pop back in. So I guess I'm just gonna give this live stream up for now and try again another time. So, well, next time let's look at a few more comics and maybe some YuGiOh stuff. So until then, thank you everyone who did tune in, and bye. See you later.